Hello. Today let's look at this simple graph. This graph describes many things, mostly relative to the value of prioritization that we really need. It's very valuable and really need to spend some time to figure out what we believe is the most valuable thing to deliver first, and then second, and then third, because it helps us to eliminate waste, it helps us to minimize risk, and it helps us to get stuff done and then move on to the next thing. So this little graph, I first saw it from the blog of Ron Jeffries of Agile Manifesto fame, and you'll find a link to that blog down in the description. So this graph is like many graphs. The x-axis is time, over time, and we're going to try and draw value created over time as we use different ways of thinking about prioritization and choosing what to work on. So if I have a set of features that I want to deliver that I believe my product needs, and I don't bother to prioritize any of them, I just simply take this set of capabilities that I want built and I give it to my teams, I give it to the people that are going to create it, and I say, do all of it. Let's not talk about prioritization, let's just do it all. So if we were to do that, and that would allow us, in other words, if we believe that any one feature isn't more valuable than any other, we can do them in random order. And if we were to build them in random order, the value delivered over time would average out to a fairly straight line, something like this, that just goes from just average value delivered over time, because we're going to do all of them. Okay. We could choose, if we wanted to do the easiest stuff first, or do all of our integration at the end, or do all of our testing at the end. In other words, let's do a bunch of work, but we don't know if it's valuable yet because we haven't combined it all, we haven't integrated it all, it's not all together. So if we were to do that, then over time the curve would look something like this. Right? With some value as we work on a few things, but as we get near the end of our time frame of when we want to get done, that's when we're actually proving that we have value and creating the value that's possible by doing all those things at the end. If we were to do prioritization, though, if we were to spend time to figure out what's higher priority and what's not, the curve would be kind of the opposite. If we work on the most important things first and then work on other things, right? Over time, that curve would look like this, that we're getting the most valuable, we're eliminating risk, we're learning things, we're creating stuff that's done and fully integrated so that our users can maybe even start using it. But then over time, we get to those features or those parts of our requirements, in quotes, that are not as valuable. And so that curve begins to flatten out. We're not doing as much value near the end. So prioritization allows us to have that curve in green. If we, as a business, as we build this, at the beginning we do some analysis and we come up with a guess, but as we build this, we realize that the minimum value we need to create might be right here. Right? If we can create that much value, then the efforts would have been profitable. We would have saved the cost, or we would be able to start selling it, or whatever it is, but that amount of value is what is profitable. If you notice, what that means is if we were to build things in the order of easiest first and only integrate or test or whatever at the end, then that means it's going to take this long to get to the minimum value. If we built things in random order and we didn't prioritize at all, it's going to take this long to get to that minimum value. But if we have prioritized, if we have had those conversations and talked with our users and are able to get slices done and into production on a regular basis, so it's fully integrated all the time, etc., so we're doing value, the most valuable work first, we can get to our minimum value here way sooner than all the other points. So prioritization is a way to get to this value, this needed value, much sooner than all the rest of them. Or I'm sorry, much sooner than doing all of them, doing everything. We get to that value much sooner, and then we can have those people that have been working on it move on to something else. So this value of prioritization is not just at a team level or a user story level or product backlog item level. It's across teams. It's even across entire enterprises. If, for example, you are simply doing all of the things that your stakeholders and leaders say, I must have this, if we're trying to do all of those things at once, all of those things at the same time, without any real prioritization, then our portfolio backlog could look like this, that we're spending way too much time, all of this time, in potential waste. Because we're not taking our portfolio and looking at it as what's the most valuable thing, let's get that done so that we can build value sooner and more rapidly, instead of just trying to do all of it. So that's just today's little graph tip. Thanks.